Hello Factorio people, welcome back to the broadcasts from Nauvis. This one is... I'm recording this quite close to the other one, as you can tell, because because my hoodie is not... It's not out of the it's not out of the rotation yet, you know. Shout in the comments, shout me out, how many days do you wear hoodies before they need to get in the wash? Is that disgusting or not? I don't know. Have I revealed too much about myself there too soon into this video? Let's find out. Anyway, yes, this is quite soon after the other one, but I've been in a real Factorio mood and I've done quite a lot, and I need to make this video so that I can move on because I don't want to forget everything that I've done. But this ends in a very definitive point. So I want to draw a line under it and say, right, this is this episode, and then I can start the next episode knowing that I don't have to remember all the gumph. So all I did here, just the end of the last episode, after I explained the whole nuclear power thing, is I just plopped down low density structures, and the robots have just finished doing that. But alas and alack, I have forgotten to add one power pole. So there we go. This base looks very... spoiler alert, this base looks very small to me now, given everything that I know that I've done. So yes, let's move forward in time, shall we, as we plow on, relentlessly. Yellow science needs to be done, does it not? It does. Oh, there's a lot of robots getting the belts. Yes, so yellow science needs to be done. Yellow science is less annoying than purple science, in my opinion. But the component parts of yellow science are more annoying than... I mean, that's not strictly true. I mentioned this before. Purple science, production science, productivity science, whatever we're calling it. Which is what the game... We should call it what the game calls it, just... Production science is annoying because it's made up of things that you don't really want to put on the bus. So you kind of just have to build it all there and then, whereas utility science is at least made up of things that need to go on the bus. So let's get yellow science sorted, which is just a simple case of building modules for those products. Even if robot frames is annoying. But putting them on the bus and then adding them to the factory. I also put the solar panels and check I'm not muted. Put the solar panels and accumulator build here as well, just because it needs to be there. Uranium processing is coming along, I guess, in a manner of speaking. It is literally coming along. So we're on a hard rush now to yellow science so that we can get the logistics mall set up and we can do lots and lots of good stuff with that. Moving on. Huzzah! Hooray! Did that thing again where I don't click out of the OBS window before I start trying to press WASD. I did say I would turn off hotkeys on OBS. Let me do that now. Can I do that now? I bet I can't do that while I'm recording, can I? Settings. Hotkeys. I just want them all off. Can I turn them all off? It doesn't look like there are any hotkeys at all. Oh well. The logistics mall is in. Sorry, I kind of ruined the big build-up to that by talking about OBS hotkeys. The logistics mall is in, which means you just bus some stuff, and your shortages become quite apparent here at this point. Like, maybe we don't make enough batteries. Maybe this chest has too big of a battery buffer. And that means you can just flip and tear this bit down. And I've called this save file was called Love or Hate This Bit, because I do love it, but I also do hate it. Because you have to tear this stuff down. It needs to be done, and you're not going to do this by hand, but then all of the chests that you've been using as buffers, you know, 1.6 thousand red belts in here. You can't see that because my face is covering. Did I always have my face on this side? I moved it to record another video, which I didn't bother releasing because it was bad. But in that one, my face needed to be over here. I feel like it is usually here. I probably should have checked some old footage before I carried on. Anyway, there's 1.6 thousand red belts in this box, and that takes a long time for these robots to go and pick them up. I suppose I could go and pick them up myself for big things like this, and especially use my trash slots to move them over. But it doesn't matter, because it happens eventually on its own. So then those robots bring everything back over to here, put everything that doesn't go into these chests. I have a blueprint for this. It took a little while to set up, and I think I used a mod to help me set it up with better copy and paste, or something along those lines. So if you shift, everyone knows this, if you shift left click an assembler, shift right click an assembler, sorry, and then shift left click another assembler, it pastes the recipe. But you can also do that, shift right click and shift left click on a requester chest, and it pastes the ingredients for that recipe enough to make it over the course of a minute or something like that. Something along those lines. But what you can't do is you can't left click that copied item onto a chest and have it fill in this, which for me is just basic functionality that should exist. A little bit more esoteric is then pasting it onto an inserter and having this fill itself in. Because, you know, like if you shift right click this and you've got this recipe in your clipboard, pasting it onto this, it's not hugely obvious what you want doing with that. But this one, it should happen, in my opinion, and the fact that it doesn't is just frankly ridiculous. So there's a mod that helped me just speed this up, which I've had this blueprint for ages. As I say, it's in my oft-touted masterclass blueprint book. And it just has a lot of stuff. It doesn't have absolutely 100% everything. It has things that are relevant to my playstyle, so it doesn't have artillery, it doesn't have... what doesn't it have? It doesn't have everything, you know? Like, it doesn't have energy shields, it doesn't have discharge defense remotes. Yeah, it doesn't have artillery, it does have flamethrowers. It has a few basic blue and green module production so that you can build the in-game Power Armor Mark II. That is in this. That is Power Armor Mark II is in the base game, is it not? Yeah, Power Armor Mark II, which needs 25 speed module 2s and 25 efficiency modules 2s. But the Power Armor Mark III is the one in the mod, which uses tier 3 modules, so you need to sort that separately if you're using that. It has nuclear production, you know, but obviously it's a long, tedious process to build this the very first time. But thankfully, the very first time is then the only time you have to do it if you do it properly. So then, when you put in the large deconstruction thing here, in theory, the robots bring everything back to where it belongs. So here are some labs, for example, that have shown up, or they've been built here. So it's good, it's nice, and let's add some more logistics robots, shall we? Because apparently I was building them by hand. Whee! Satisfying. Off they go, picking up the various things. This causes a huge strain on the factory for a long time, because you need to build up all these buffers of things that use a lot of ingredients. So for example, I've decided I need 100 Beacon Mark 1s. This will have to change because obviously in the vanilla game, Beacon Mark 1s is the only mark of beacons. So you just want a decent number of them because that's the only one you'll use, whereas I'm using the mod that has the beacon overhaul, so I'm going to have Beacon Mark 2s and Mark 3s, so this may need to change. and some other expensive things that need a lot of like batteries and stuff, like personal battery Mark IIs. You need 10 personal batteries, and each one of those needs 5 batteries. So you know you spend a lot of batteries doing this, but you only do that once really, and then you put sort of, if you build a Spidertron, you put a few more batteries in. But so there is an overhead associated with this. But then this is a very good excuse to start expanding, because you have the need to expand for a start, because all your resources start coming into this. But then it's easier to expand because you just have everything now in the logistics hub. You just have it. You have rails, you have stations, you have all the inserters, you have power poles, you just have the stuff that you need. So let's move on and see what I do with our newfound power. I need more copper, basically, is what this highlights to me, which is it's not really a surprise. Putting the logistics hub in does use a lot of red circuits. Red circuits go into a lot of places if we open FNEI and put in advanced circuits, if we spell advanced properly first. Yeah, beacon mark 1s, centrifuges, efficiency modules, electric furnaces, a lot of the chests that you're using. Nuclear reactors is one, and I think I do notice that eventually, that I don't need a buffer of 8 nuclear reactors. That might be a mistake. I do see that and fix that. Where were we? Roboports, personal roboports and regular roboports, in fact. Stack inserters, substations. To be honest with you, I think it's just mostly the nuclear power plant. I think maybe my initial design of saying that I need a buffer of 8 of those is a mistake, but that's because I think I had a grid section design that needed 8 nuclear power plants. So this is really sunny again. Why do I choose to record these videos at 6 o'clock British summertime, huh? Well, the sun's just coming right through the window. Solution to that, buy a new house. Or buy a house, I suppose, is a good place to start. You'll also see that the robots are just sort of going everywhere to destroy trees. I found out that in the nanobot mod there is this thing you can build, the interface programmer, and the logistics networked interface, which you can set. There's 5 different things you can set to it. One of them is just destroy trees in the roboport network. So it does that for me, which is nice. So the robots are kind of out and about, going everywhere. I've also expanded the grid section to cover the rest of the old base, so that is, you know, it's all gone as quickly as it arrived. That's not true. Not true at all. 30 hours of building it, 1 hour of deconstructing it. So there is a nice juicy copper ore patch here, 32 million, and it's not really far enough away to warrant using a train, so I'm just going to get some furnaces down and inject it into the bus. Simple as, really. But we do need it. We do need it. That doesn't solve all the problems, but it solves a decent chunk of the problems, at least. So let's move on, shall we? Adding more copper just shows off that the red circuits are lacking. Red circuits... I start to use our newfound beacons with our supply of speed module Mark IIs that we're getting from the logistics hub to just speed up this. It's not brilliant, but we just need more of them. And we're in sort of that spinning plate mode now, where we realise that, oh, we need more copper, we add copper, but that solves the copper problem. See? But it doesn't solve the red circuit problem. It does show off the issue that I have whenever I build my bus, where I just sort of forget to balance the bus. Like, why is this like this? Like, why am I trying to pull off so many different lanes of green circuits from one. Anyway, you can see the logistics bots have mostly calmed down now. What are they focusing on at the moment? Iron gear wheels always, forever, of course. Red circuits in here. I think I do notice that that is a problem. Why am I sinking 500 advanced circuits onto 2,500 advanced circuits have gone into these 5 nuclear power plants, and I probably will use them, but I shouldn't overproduce them because I can't imagine I'll build any more than like maybe 4 or 5 of these modules before solar power starts to become the most efficient way of expanding power. But yes, you can see the battery problem sort of solves itself there once a lot of your things have been built here. You know, we've got storage chests here with portable fusion reactors, even though I'm not using them yet. This is my Power Armor Mark 1 setup, and I will swap these out for laser beams as and when. I shouldn't have done that, because that just discharges the personal roboports, and the personal roboports take up a lot of power, especially with personal batteries, because I am also yet to change to personal battery Mark 2s. But, whoa, I make a big jump going forwards. I just bypass the Mark 2 power armor completely. So let's look at that. Power armor Mark 3 researched. I put in my generic module building module. I just had these make efficiency modules for a moment because the Mark 3 power armor needs that. And so then I built the Mark 3 power armor, which, as I say again, is a mod. Just needs some processing units, some electric engine units, some low density structures, and then some modules. And you get the Mark 3 power armor. So let's have a look. It's got a big grid. It's got space for the laser beams and the personal roboports and some exoskeletons. It's OP, alright. Okay, let's be honest. It's overpowered. It's overpowered. It's only really overpowered just because laser turrets are so strong anyway. Personal laser defenses are just bonkers good. So being able to put 12 of them in your armor before you've even thought about, adding more exoskeletons. You've got 3 fusion reactors here charging 12 personal batteries. These do 30 plus 69 nice laser damage. Shooting speed 1.5 plus 3.3, so that shoots 4.8 times a second for 99 damage. But only uses 50 kilojoules per shot. So let me show you what that looks like. Just hold, please, while we walk this direction. Let me turn my robots off as well, just in case. Oh, it's a bit further away than I anticipated. Putting the modules in the modules module into the base does eat a lot of red and purple circuits. But that's fine. We need the modules. I don't want any spare circuits on the bus, really. Like, if I've got spare circuits, I want to be putting them into this. Because I will need lots of Mark 3 beacons. Mark 3 modules going in beacons. Like, I definitely will want that to happen. And I've also put in the lubricant for the Mark 3 oh my god, what am I talking about? The Mark III belts and stuff like that. So we are starting to make blue belts, blue undergrounds, and blue splitters, even though I won't use them for a little bit. But again, while I've got the resources spare, like there is a lot of iron here, I may as well be using this time to be building a backlog of belts so that when I need them. Right, anyway, I'm here now. Here's laser turrets for you. With some, oh no, I forgot to equip the energy shields. Yeah, so they're pretty good. They're pretty good. So I use that time, that spare time, while the base is just sort of ticking over, building, and I go on what can really only be described as a mass rampage, a holocaust, to be honest with you. It's pretty grim. Yeah, just, whoops, I suppose. Yikes. So I clear quite a lot of biters from this area. Spent maybe 20, 20 minutes, half an hour, killing 40 spitters a minute. We are getting behemoth biters and spitters. Let me just put the do evolution. See where we are. Evolution factor 0.917, so 92% evolution basically. And so with some energy shields as well, kind of don't even really need to worry. Like, it just solves itself. You can take a few, I say a few, you can take quite a lot of acid hits, as long as you then realise, oh wait, I'm getting hit by acid, and you start moving. The only downside to this, really, is that you can't automate it yet, or I can't automate it yet. I can build some Spidertrons eventually, but I cannot remember for the life of me off the top of my head what their equipment grid size is. Does it tell you in the tech tree? Spider-Man. Where are you, Spider-Man? Have I researched you already and just not built you? Yeah, I have. Bloody hell. Spidertron recipe. Equipment grid size 10 by 6. 10 by 6. These are 4 by 4. Yeah, I probably should have just. You can automate it if I send some Spidertrons out. But as I say, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time doing that because the pollution cloud was dangerously close over on this side. And I wanted to build up some module production. And I think I was watching BoJack Horseman on my second screen. Forgive the tangent here, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent. Sometimes I read reviews for games on Steam because I hate myself. So I read the reviews. And whenever I see somebody praise a game because, oh, it's not brilliant, but, you know, you can just play it while you're watching anime or something on your second screen. I have this visceral reaction that is very much like, how fried are your dopamine receptors that you have to be watching something on one screen and actively playing a game on another screen? And then I will do the exact same thing myself, but I will justify it as, well, Factorio, you kind of half pay attention to this, you know, like, I'm not fully involved. If I was fully involved, if I was doing design work or doing something really involved, I wouldn't want this second screen on. And I'm pointing at my screens here with my hand that you can't see. I wouldn't want to be doing anything on my second screen. I would just want to be doing this. But I think that's what the kids just call cope. I think I'm just coping myself here, just taking a big old dose of copium to try and justify the fact that actually I do want to play a game on one screen and watch something on the other screen. Look at this malarkey. You know, I'll say things to myself like, well, if the game's not interesting enough on its own, that you have to supplement the game with something else, you know, I'll put a movie on my second screen. What is happening here? You know, then that to me says, well, the game is bad then. You can't say a game's good because it's good when you also have something else to do. Like, it's 50% good, but if you also add something else that's good, then it's good. But then I'll just do that anyway myself. But I don't know if that's because Factorio is of the genre that is not, you know, like I couldn't possibly like say I'm going to play like Rocket League or Overwatch or Fortnite and have BoJack Horseman on my second screen. I think my brain would just die. It would just be like, ah, what are you doing? It would be like that bit from Total Recall where he's like, ah, you know, all of his neurons are firing all at the same time. Not when he's suffocating on the planet Mars. Spoilers for Total Recall, by the way. The original, not the remake. I can't remember what I was talking about for the life of me. I think I was trying to vaguely make a point about... Look at this. This is very frustrating. I fixed it, don't worry. I think I was trying to vaguely make a point about... maybe the biters suck, because sometimes you do just have to go out and spend 20 minutes really not doing anything at all beyond moving around with WASD. And so yeah, then at that point I'll put something on my second screen. I don't know what my point was. I was just rambling. I'm just rambling. Right, let's move on. We're almost there. We're almost there now. I put some Coverets production in, because now's the time, because these chests were all full of uranium at 238, so I thought, okay, it's time for Coverets to arrive. And I had in my masterclass blueprint book circuitless foolproof Coverets, which I have modified slightly because that original blueprint had loads of beacons. Whereas this version obviously doesn't need that. This is a Mark II beacon, if you wanted to see that as well. This is a Mark I beacon. It has 8 slots with a distribution efficiency of 0.5, which means that one module that says it does 100% speed bonus will actually only do 50% speed bonus. This is a Mark II module that covers this area and has 15 slots and also has a distribution efficiency of 0.5. Now, this frustrated me when I first started using this mod, because when you read the tooltips for these, Effect Transmission 1 says what a beacon would normally say. Effect Transmission 2 says has 15 module slots and a large range, but is not as efficient as the Beacon Mark 1. So I thought, well, why would I ever use anything that's not a Beacon Mark 1 then, if the distribution efficiency is going to be less? Like, why would I not just tile things like this? It wasn't until I actually bothered to build some Mark II beacons and see what was going on that I saw the distribution efficiency was still 0.5. And I'm pretty sure the Mark III ones are... Let me go into the editor. Yes, let me go into the editor and plop a Mark III beacon down, just because I need space science to research it. This says this is the least efficient beacon. This is a Mark III beacon. It has the same distribution range, but it has 20 module slots, and it still has 0.5 distribution efficiency. So these tooltips, in my opinion, when they say it has a short range but is more efficient, I think all it is talking about is the amount of power that it uses in relation to the number of modules you're putting in. That this has 15 modules, so if you were to put in, you know, 2 Mark I beacons and put the equivalent of 15 modules over these, that would use less power. But who freaking cares about that? Why write a whole tooltip and saying it's less efficient, when really what you mean is that this is strictly better than the Beacon Mark I, and the Beacon Mark III is strictly better than the Beacon Mark II. Beyond a tiny amount of energy consumption usage. You know? What a jip. So anyway, yeah, I'm here to tell you that just use Beacon Mark IIs. And then use Beacon Mark IIIs, of course. So here's the foolproof Coverect setup. It's not hugely complicated, I don't think. This filter inserter inserts the uranium-238, the DOD uranium. This filter inserter picks up the good uranium. This filter inserter removes the good uranium and uses this weird splitter thing to put it on the... Why does it do that? I've just realised that maybe that is a bit rubbish. Why does it need this splitter? Why does it not just do this? Why have I just rubber ducked myself into... just rubber duck debugging myself into realising that this splitter is completely redundant. Let me open the editor again. No, let's not get distracted. Let's not get distracted. No, quit, editor, quit. How do I quit the editor? I just did it. I did it before. Just use the command again, that makes sense. I'm so confused. So this makes sure that the uranium goes straight back in to the centrifuge, and then the excess goes down the line. So you have the problem that all Coverx setups has, which is you've got quite a large buffer of good uranium here, and it's not until this gets full with its 81 that this inserter stops bothering. For me, it's certainly annoying, but the amount of setup you would need to make sure that that doesn't happen is far too laborious to worry about. You're going to get so much uranium-238 from doing it like this that an extra 20 minutes of setup time is just not worth worrying about. So this uranium propagates itself down the line. The 235 always stays on the bottom. This is the most key bit of this design, is that the 235 stays on the inside. The good uranium stays on the inside. The dud uranium stays on the outside. And then, when the inside is full, well, when either side of the belt is full really, but the outside never gets full by virtue of the fact that this recipe will always consume 3 uranium-238. So the outside will always be empty, will always have gaps when it gets to this splitter. But the inside won't be, the inside will be full. So then the inside excess will spill over into this, which then gets picked up. And this filter inserter only picks up 235 just in case. Just in case. So there is a failsafe here in case any 238 does spill over, comes back onto here. And then goes onto the inside to make sure it's prioritized. So then this fills the gaps in that happens here. So if I just pick up some dud uranium and just drop it onto this side just to show you what would happen, it's going to drop here, but because this bit of the belt, this lane of the belt will hit the gap before, this will then be prioritized, so this will then never back up. Any real proper good uranium that makes its way down through the processing somehow gets picked up and put onto the inside belts. That never happens because of this, but in case you don't want this bit of the design, you want this bit of the design, you can do it like that, and the whole thing goes. So let's open the editor, shall we, and run this at 64 times speed, and I will show you that it never ever ever fails. Never fails. And eventually... So I've done this test before, and what's very interesting is that it looks like the dud uranium has made its way onto the inside, but that, I think, is a graphical artifact or even an optical illusion of the black rubber belts. Like, if I pause the game, at no point is there dud uranium on the inside. It's just the frame rate and the light green uranium and the black rubber belt making it look like that there's two. Like, it's here is especially bad, right? But I can just stand here pressing pause, and it is never happening. Anyway. So eventually, once this all propagates down, we start getting a respectable amount of 235. So these have clogged, and this one hasn't. That's why you need the splitter. Okay, I was right. Past me was correct. I must have forgotten why past me was correct. And then that's why this is here, so that the good uranium is always on the inside. And that's why that is there, so that you don't have a little tiny bit of uranium here causing you to causing your fake internet OCD to trigger. Oh, I've got OCD. If I see two pencils, I have to straighten them out. Yeah. Okay, fine. I washed my hands flipping red raw. Not me. That's just I've just strawmanned that. Okay. All right. I've put this back. Oh, I haven't put this back. I've put this back. And now it definitely does work. This is foolproof, okay? I promise you it's foolproof. Ah, my leg hurts. Okay. It's foolproof, as I was saying. It creates... Actually, it's irrelevant how much it creates. We all know how much it creates. It creates more than you would ever need in 10,000 lifetimes. And you can make this as long or as short as you want. It's only this long just because that's as many as I can fit into one thing. There's also a bit of a gap here, there's a bit of space here. Sorry, there's something on my neck, I'm pretty sure it's a bug. There's a bit of space here so that you can put a splitter there and some belts here, and then just dupe the whole thing and put it there like that, and that will do exactly the same thing. You just need to seed the first few. You can't use even distribution because the tick rate is too high like this. That's interesting. Yeah, you just have to seed the first few centrifuges with the 238, and off it goes. You've got 2 rows of that now. Still not broken. It will never break, I promise you. Unless, of course, this gets full, I suppose, then it will definitely break. Don't let this get full. There are circuit conditions here, so I suppose you can put a circuit condition to stop something. I did want to say it was circuitless, but I guess strictly speaking that's not true. Alright, let's move on. One more thing, and then we'll move on from the end to this video to the next epoch of this game, I suppose. So we use our newfound power and space and modules to expand westwards. Go west, like that song. Go West by that band. Who was that band? I want to say it was Frankie Goes to Hollywood, but I actually don't know. Oh, yeah, so, westward expansion. There was a nice juicy iron ore patch, copper ore patch, and also a crude oil patch. You only need those 3 raw ingredients to make Mark III modules. Correct? Electronic circuits and advanced circuits need iron, copper, and plastic. The purple chips need to go into the next tier, which needs sulfuric acid, which you get from petroleum as well. And then obviously speed module 3s are the same. So for me, whenever I'm starting my huge big expansion phase, I always look for a nice triad of these things, a triptych, if you will, of iron, copper, and crude oil. And then I will use those 3 resources to make a dedicated module build. Because modules are very good, but oh my god, they are expensive. A single speed module 3 is 360 iron plates, 800 copper plates, 260 plastic. You need coal to make plastic. What am I talking about? I need coal to make plastic. Oh, I'll just bring coal in by train, that's fine. Why did I think you didn't need crude oil? You do need crude oil. You need copper. You need oil cracking. That's what I should have been doing this whole time. Man, I'm stupid. I should have done it here. I'll do it here instead. And I'll use this to make oil. I'll use oil cracking to make the petroleum I need, and I'll use the coal to make the plastic I need. I'll build it here instead. It's fine. Okay, so the principle still applies. But I have sort of, and I'm gonna vaguely swear, in a manner of speaking, bastardized this process to just have a quick little injection of green circuits. I don't think this was strictly necessary. I don't think green circuits was really a problem, especially post red circuits. But I've done it anyway, more because I can than anything. I've also realised I need to bring iron ore into the logistics base so I can make concrete, so I can make... what does concrete go in that's important? Definitely something. Artillery turrets, centrifuges, nuclear reactors, and obviously the rocket silo. I did experiment with the artillery, as you can see. I still don't really like it as a solution. I'd rather just send Spidertrons out to the edge of my pollution cloud and deal with it like that, although I'm yet to do that anyway. So I did experiment with artillery for a bit, which made me realise I need the concrete. But I will need the concrete for other things for sure anyway, so this was not a huge waste of time. So the next step, this is the end of this portion, and this is mostly the end of the video as well. This is the end of this portion of the base. I am going to now transition into the fourth phase. We've had bootstrap, we've had starter base, we've had bus base. I'm going to now transition into the fourth stage of the base. This was merely all just an exercise to get to the final stage, the Megabase. Hooray! Even though I've not even launched a rocket yet, but that doesn't matter. You don't need to launch a rocket. Launching a rocket is for fools. It's for cowards. We're going to start tearing this stuff down. We're not going to start tearing it down. That's ridiculous. We're going to start bringing stuff in by train properly and having dedicated modules for train-based modules. So the iron will come in, and I've prepped my... I'll remember to... It doesn't I'm not going to worry too much about building the stations here now. The idea is that I will have just bits like this. You know, it's going to be I'm going a very long way around saying it's going to be train-based, okay? And I'm not going to do it in grid sections, though. I've decided I'm not going to do it in grid sections. I'm just going to have a station that makes the iron plates and a station that picks up the iron plates, and then I will just plop that down. I want it to look very organic. And yes, once I have that design, I will put it down wherever there's space, wherever makes sense. But I'm not doing grid sections, okay? I will build them within the city blocks that I've decided, but I'm not doing what I've done before in the past and built... which blueprint book am I looking at here? Rigid... can't believe I didn't save a single blueprint from that. I must have done that. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Building rigid... This grid section makes the processing units. You know, I'm not going to do it like that. Each section is going to be as big or as small as it needs to be. And I'm just going to plop them down wherever there is space and wherever makes sense. And hopefully that will deliver unto me a very sprawling, organic looking, but functional Megabase. You know? Hopefully. And with my Spidertrons just clearing the edges out, my big... Oh, I forgot to mention, I did redo this blueprint. So I do still have a single section, but it doesn't have a radar in it anymore. Whereas this big one is 2 by 2 of those grid sections, but only the radar in the middle, because I was looking at my power production, and I do appreciate the irony of saying earlier I don't care about power. Whenabouts did I do that? Yeah. 7.5 hours ago? Good lord. You can see that radar power production was getting a little bit out of hand. It was getting a little bit out of hand. When radars were more than roboports, I realised, oh, I probably should do something about that. You know? So yeah, so I will just expand. And have a station that makes iron plates, and get rid of this, and bring the iron plates in like that, and then eventually this will all be replaced by, you know, nothing. I will just get rid of bits as and when they become irrelevant. When I start making green circuits out in little modules, I will get rid of this, and the same with red circuits, and the same even maybe with science, and maybe even the same with this. Maybe I'll tear this down and put this somewhere else and just have another station section that brings in, you know... I can think of a way to do this. I'm sure I can. I won't need to build like literally 10 stations all that bring in one of these at a time. Will I? Maybe I can just have a station called Hub and have a train that goes and picks up circuits, but then only goes to the hub when it's needed. I guess. You'd need a depot, I suppose. You would say, go to green circuits, pick up green circuits, go to hub depot, and then I would have a stacker, and then go to the hub station when... No, that doesn't work, because then the station would need to know how many green circuits are there, and it would only turn on when... Yeah, that doesn't work. I can think of something, though. Maybe. Anyway, I know this video's been a bit longer than normal, and that's because I did quite a lot, and then that's also why I've had to record the video, because there was so much in my brain that I knew I needed to talk about. I didn't want to then move on to the next phase of the base without just drawing a line under this and saying, right, like, this is done, let's do the next part. I am frustrated that I somehow thought I could make plastic with just crude oil, as opposed to... This makes much more sense. But this, again, this was more of an experiment in the module, you know, the Mark II beacons, and building things from afar as well. Like, I don't actually think I went over there very much. I just built things and then copy and pasted. Obviously, we're still waiting on some modules to come in and finish this off, but still, a valuable exercise, of course. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Sorry, a bit longer than normal. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you'd like to see more Factorio, especially more of this base, be sure to subscribe. Other than that, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.